What's up, everybody? Blessed be. My name is Manon, and you're watching Witch in the Working, where we will be discussing all things witchy in and around, throughout and about, above, below, and beyond. Please visit me on my other platforms as well, including Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. All linked down in the description below. The full script of this video and most of the others is available on my Patreon account for download if desired. Also, I now have some Witch in the Working merchandise available, t-shirts, hats, mugs, lots more things. Please see my store linked in the description below and run over and check it out. So, I have a special guest again today because, to be honest, we're going to be covering a topic that I never really got into that much, but I know it's huge in the craft community. I mean, there's a store that's not far from me that specializes in crystals and stones and things like this. And I mean, always, every time I go there, the line is like out the freaking door. So it's obviously a very popular, huge thing in the metaphysical community. Myself, I don't know. I just never got, it's kind of like astrology with me. I just never really got that into it. But anyhow, that being said, I've worked with stones and crystals before, but only to the extent of decorating for the most part. For instance, my Athame handle has an amethyst at the butt end of it. You just see here. The very first pendulum I ever made in my career as a witch was a string glued to the end of a piece of lodestone. There's also an awesome prosperity spell I learned from one of my students, Emrys, who also owns an amazing online store. Please see the address to her store in the description below. And there's a specific ritual that I've done a few times that also utilizes a lodestone in its operations. This all being said, I've never been to a store and actually bought crystals or stones for myself to use. I've always received them as gifts here and there, or if I did buy any stones, they were as gifts for others whom I knew had an interest in them. Nonetheless, I'm completely aware that crystals and gems totally have a power and energy all to their own, and I respect this energy tremendously and give complete kudos to those who are familiar with and work with these energies. So in this episode of Witch in the Working, I've invited our dear friend again and fellow witch Pink Tourmaline back onto the show to teach us all about crystals and gems, as she knows a lot more about these things than I do. I literally knew I was going to be doing something on this, and I totally, again, I don't know much about it, so I'm kind of learning with you guys out there. But I do know that I was talking about it with Pink, and Pink said, well, I do crystals all the time. I mean, that's one of my favorite things. I get them, I mean, she literally has like a collection. I'll link her webpage or her YouTube account down below. She has videos of like where she just has so many crystals and things. It's like crazy. But so I thought, you know what? And she said, well, heck, let me be on your show again, and I'll talk about them. So I was like, well, I guess that's gonna be the best thing, because otherwise I'm just gonna be like, you know, rambling on, you know, something I learned in the last like day or two. So better to get somebody who knows more about it. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. Welcome back, everybody. So as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about stones, crystals, and gems. I kept calling them gemstones, but Pink corrected me and said that's like jewelry, so don't say that. So okay, sorry. So anyhow, again, I'm kind of learning as you are, so this is amazing. This is going to be one of those shows that we're actually learning together. Kick ass, love it. Okay, so let's get into it, I guess. Let's just start off with the conversation. So I have some questions down here that I made up to ask. So, so let's get on with the first question. Okay, so is there a difference between crystals and other stones? Like for instance, a difference between like a quartz crystal and which is very, beautiful, and like maybe a lodestone, which is,
Yeah, so I mean, they work about the same. They're magical workings. You can put them in your spell work. You can wear them. They bring certain energies too, so they work like that. They got some age to them. So that's another thing that they are the same, and they're very natural. But basically, it's just in the look. Crystals are more, they're sparklier. They catch your eye more, whereas stones are more opaque.
Okay. But like, I mean, like you were saying, but I guess like the energies and everything are pretty much like, so it's just the way they look.
Yeah,
is pretty much.
Witches tend to go, oh, these are my stones and my crystals, and sometimes their crystals are stones, but it doesn't really matter the wording so much. But yeah, crystals are more of a crystal. It's more sparkly and pretty, and the other ones are just opaque.
So, question number two. Okay, no. Question number two. So what do people use crystals for these days, like nowadays? So.
Oh, you can use them for anything. You can use them for love, money, luck, prosperity. Pretty much anything you are trying to do some magical workings on, whether healing, whatever it is. You can use them to wear, or you can use them in your spell work, or you can give them away as gifts to bring a certain energy to somebody. It all depends on what you're looking to do.
Okay, cool. So I've heard about people utilizing stones for like chakra work and whatnot, where they have like which we'll end up doing a video on chakras, but like chakras are like energy centers of your body. The most common, there's 7 of them. They start like in the root chakra, which is like your genitals basically, and they go up into your belly, and then your thorax here, and then your throat, and ultimately they go to like your head and up here and there. But it's a whole other system. We'll do a video on that. But that being said, I heard about a connection with using like crystals in these chakras. Do you know anything about that, or is it like?
Yeah, they're used for the chakra system as well. They're used in a lot of meditation purposes, a lot of healing purposes. So definitely good for aligning the chakras and things like that.
Okay, cool. And like I said, we're gonna get into that a little bit more in another video. That's like an Eastern concept, but it's very powerful and very cool. So we'll get into that. So. Crystals, I know, like when I go to that store from time to time, to be honest, I go to the store, the crystal store I'm talking about, to buy bulk Nag Champa incense. I don't even go to buy, but it's the closest. It's either that or order it online, and sometimes I'm in a pinch, I have like a massive circle, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get incense. I run over there real quick, and I'm like, literally, like, I'm just like, look, people, I don't want to, I just want to buy some incense. I know you're waiting for your precious, but So I'll run up and just like, they'll literally let me run up and just throw $20 on the table and get my incense. But I noticed that these stones, these crystals and everything they can get expensive. They can get expensive. They have this one crystal there. Granted, it's freaking the size of a freaking bowling ball. But the thing costs like $2,000. And I'm just like, do you know how much herbs and incense I can buy for $2,000? I'm like, anyway. So do we need to spend? Is it necessary to spend tons of money on your crystals and stones?
No, not at all. Collecting stones is like collecting anything else. You just gotta love it. You really gotta love it. You don't really need stones or crystals at all. Sometimes the best stones are when you go out and you're on your nature walks or just grounding yourself and you find that magical stone right on the ground. I've found that more than I've found in the actual stores. It's just stuff I come across on my journeys, but yeah.
So I know one time when I visited you in New Hampshire, we actually went walking in the woods at one point, which was really cool. Like, the difference in the woods from here in South Florida to like up in New Hampshire are just like night and freaking day. It's like the woods, everything's small here and condensed, where up there it's huge and just like the stuff you see in the movies. But we were walking along a path and there's like all these rocks on the ground, just like it would normally be. And anyway, long story short, I went there weighing, what I weigh, and added like 15 pounds onto myself because every like 25 feet she was picking up a rock and putting it in one of my pockets. I gotta bring this one home. Look at this one. And I was like,
it's like the mall for witches.
No, right? And I'm like walking, and I'm like walking down this path, and she's like, oh my God, look how gorgeous this one is. And I'm like, yeah, it's a rock. Yeah. Well,
it's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. You know?
So I go back, all of a sudden I've got like all these rocks and everything. But no, she totally finds these things in nature and just like, naturally and just loves them, But so you don't have to necessarily spend a fortune on these crystals and stones. I mean, it's not like, it actually is going to segue into my next question, because I think that some people think if they go buy like an amethyst, for instance, that is like the size of a bowling ball, it's going to be so powerful, as opposed to an amethyst that is the size of the one in my Athame, So my question is, and a lot of guys want to know this, does size matter?
No, not at all, actually. So if you have a stone that is this big and a stone that is this big, it's just more condensed energy. So you could have the same energy in each stone, just more condensed in the smaller one. That's not to say you're not going to get a better feel of energy from the bigger one, but you might get a better feel of energy from the smaller one, or maybe the same amount. Or maybe you just really think the bigger one's pretty. Or maybe you don't have enough room for the bigger one and you get the smaller one. It's all about, what you need and what you want.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. So that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's actually kind of a relief. But yeah, just so you people out there, no, I mean, because of the money thing. Because like there's people out there that literally are like, they'll spend like hundreds of dollars on a crystal because it's bigger than a smaller one, and it's just not necessary. It's just cool to know. And that goes for a lot of stuff in craft. I think one of the, is that you don't have to go out and buy the most fanciest of everything, and you'll see tons of YouTube videos out there from other content creators where they talk about like witchcraft on a budget, or Wicca on a budget, where they literally like, because there's people out there that'll spend like $1,000 on magical tools and things like that, where it's just not necessary. You can literally spend nothing, to be honest. I mean, you can find stuff around your house to do this stuff. So it's a matter of going for free to thousands of dollars. It just depends. Ceremonial magicians, now that's, forget it. They're spending tens of thousands because they're extremists, but whatever.
And another thing about that is, if you go out and something is way more off your budget, like you have to sell a kidney to get it, you really shouldn't. It's not for you. You shouldn't even think about getting it, and you shouldn't try and barter down either, because that's not the way we do things. If it is yours and it is meant to be, it will be in your hands and it will be for you, and you'll know it.
So that's cool. So bartering, right? And like so many times we've mentioned in witchcraft before, you shouldn't barter over tools and things like that. Crystals, the same thing. Any mediums, anything that you with that, you shouldn't barter when you buy this stuff. I mean, it's meant to be what it's meant to be. Bartering over it puts a negative energy. It kind of puts like it can put like a struggle energy around things, and that's just not gonna make it float well. Don't barter for your stuff.
It's rude, in my opinion.
So another thing that I noticed that, and by watching some other content creators, and one of my favorites out there, Olivia with the Witch of Wonderlust. Love her. Check her out if you get a chance. I'll put her link in the description below. Super down to earth witch, super down to earth content creator. Love her to death. She did a thing on crystals one time where she talked about fake crystals and real crystals, and how you can repurpose crystals. What does that mean to like repurpose a crystal, or like what is I guess if you get like a fake one, what is it to get a fake crystal and repurposing them?
Okay, so fake crystals, as long as they're stones in general, it doesn't matter, because it's all in the intent that you put into them, all in the energy that you put into them. So if you find out that you purchased a stone and it's not really what they said it was, joke's on them, because you can really program it to do anything you want. Okay,
cool. So that means like if you have like bought a stone originally, like especially like quartz crystal, for instance, and you had it originally where you were doing like a working or something for like healing or whatnot, and then you want to use that same crystal going forward for like prosperity, you just reprogram it.
Yes, so what you could do is you can clear it out. What I do is I clear it out with either sage or incense, or I don't really use sage actually, I use Palo Santo, but you can do that. And then what you can do is on the next full moon, you put all your stones out and you let the moon cleanse it and re-energize it. You pull them in before the sun comes up, and you can really reprogram them to do anything you want them to do.
So what happens if the sun comes up and hits your crystals?
Well, then you run like your head's on fire.
No.
Like, no. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's more of along the lines that the moon energizes it, and once the sun hits it, then the energy of the moon and the sun kind of mix together.
Right.
It's better just to have either your moon energy or your sun energy.
Gotcha. So it's like when you make like moon water.
Yeah,
like if you make moon water and
you want just the moon energy in that water, not the energy from the sun. So you want to pull it in before it hits the sun.
So if you do have a crystal that you specifically want sun energy in it, then you can also have crystals with sun energy too, I take it, where you leave them in the sun and whatnot, I guess.
Right, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. A lot of people do that with their pyrite or their citrine. Their sunstones definitely are good stones for that. It really depends on the stone, of course. So the other thing to know about stones and crystals is that there's intentions for all of them, which I'm going to go over, but you can really program any stone to do anything, because its energies would be better suited for certain things, but that doesn't mean it can't be programmed for something completely different that you haven't seen it used before. Just a lot like a quartz crystal. You can use a quartz crystal for anything. You can use any stone for anything, but we use these certain stones for certain things just because we find that energy melds well with that. Or that it could be a color issue, it could be any one of those things that really makes it more of a stone for this.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm interested in crystals. I go back to this store that has a line out the door. I walk into the store and I want to find a stone that fits me. How do I pick out a stone?
That's pretty easy. So you're gonna walk through. I don't suggest touching every stone you come across. Not everybody wants your energy. But if you are drawn to one, you see one, and you're like, I really like that. For whatever reason, you don't even have to like the look of it, you're just drawn to it. Some people are just drawn to a certain stone. You go over, you pick it up, and that still really feels good. And it's for that right price, and it's what you came in looking for, get the stone. Get the stone.
Okay. I'm like totally, like I think, I gotta tell you guys, like I was like, going to do this video and I was like, well, crystals are cool, but whatever, they're not my thing. But actually, as we started doing this, I'm totally like getting into them now. So I think I'm gonna go get some crystals this weekend. Okay, so taking you through the process. So I go to the store, this stone yells out to me, take me home. So you grab the stone, you buy the stone, you bring it home. What's the first thing you do after you get your stone home?
I just put it right on my altar.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do anything to it. If the stone felt good in the store, why would I want to mess with that? And same with nature. I don't do anything to it. I like my stones just the way I pick them up, and when I feel that energy, when I feel like, yes, I really like this, I'm not gonna mess with that. So it's kind of like the same thing with like herbs and stuff like that, where they have a natural energy. So it's not like you want to bring it home and consecrate it and clear it of its energies. You want it to maintain the energy that you felt in the store. Right. I mean, you could always do that, but when the energy's good, why would you want to? Well, that's the whole reason you picked out the stone to begin with, because the energy. So for you to come home, it would be like, like I totally get that. So like you like, oh my God, I love this stone. Let me go home and clear it now. Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, yeah. Perfect. So I guess when you go to the store and you're looking for that stone and you're going for a specific purpose, like if you usually, I guess if you're going to find a specific crystal, you may be in a situation where you're going to, for a specific energy, whether it be protection, healing, prosperity, whatever. So if you are going through searching the stones and you feel this one, it's just like generating this like prosperity energy to you. And you feel it and it's just like, that's it, this is the one, and it jumps out at you.
you take it home. And I guess that makes sense. Why would you go home and go, oh my gosh, this is the stone that's gonna make me where I totally am like able to pay the bills this month, and this is like the best stone, let me clear it. Yeah, I guess that would be kind of stupid. So, okay, no, that makes sense. So, another thing that I learned recently doing a little bit of research is that you don't want to just, especially there's certain things that you make like moon water, let's use that as an example, where you might put a crystal, or you might put crystal, where you might put a crystal in liquid. That could be toxic, that could be deadly. You don't want it can make you very sick if you especially consume that liquid after you put the crystal in it, because the crystal, in some crystals, the crystal will dissolve into the water, so you don't want that to happen. You don't want to put a crystal in water that'll do that. Now, there are crystals that you can put in water, but there's other crystals that you can't. And I would love to sit here and do a thing and tell you what crystals you can or can't, but I am not even going down that road. That's research for you to figure out and for you to go on find out, because I'm not going to be responsible for you getting sick by drinking lemonade with whatever in it. So, check that out. But I suggest if you are going to put crystals in water, don't necessarily drink it, for the most part. I mean, let's just play it safe, people. How do you feel about this?
I feel the same way. I mean, to each their own. I mean, definitely do your research if you're going to. But I'm kind of like a germaphobe myself, so I look at these crystals and these are hundreds of years old, and I don't really want to put that in my water.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drink it. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But I do have all kinds of crystals in my moon water, but my moon water isn't for drinking. When I have moon water to drink, for instance, I don't put any crystals in it at all.
So, you get your crystal home, you do nothing to it, I guess. So how would you use your crystal moving forward in like ritual or spell work, for instance?
Yes. Some people wear their crystals during certain things. Like, for instance, I have this moon ring right here. I use this for every like full moon ritual that I do. But you could also use them for like canned spells, when a spell that you're taking from a book or from a friend or whatever calls for a certain stone, you can bring them in. Or if you're like me and you make your spells up, you can put any stones that you feel is going to help. I personally, what I do with spell work is when I'm in the middle of a spell, I have all of my stones out on my altar. And I don't just leave them there to look pretty. I actually leave them there because I'm called to pull certain stones. So when I'm called to pull certain stones, they're going to be readily available for me. So that's when I start pulling them into my working. Okay, I could use this energy, or I could use this energy. And then that's how I personally use them. But I mean, everybody uses them a different way. I definitely love them in spell work. They're like batteries, or they energize your spell work. They really amplify it and send that energy out there. So it's definitely something that I've utilized quite a bit in my workings.
Very cool. So explain a little bit more, where you just said, because you hit a key word there that I don't think you touched on yet. Maybe you did and I'm just an idiot. About batteries, them being batteries.
Yes. Actually, you can even see it in your watches. They use quartz in watches. They really do have energy to them. If you really look at the structure to them, they have the energy to do that. So yeah, we use them to amplify and basically help us do our bidding. We put our spells to put our energy out there. So why won't we use stones that help that energy go out there into, the universe? So yeah, it's definitely something that I utilize, and it's definitely something that I suggest others utilize.
Okay, so cool. So, and when you're working your own spells and rituals, the way you were just explaining it, like you kind of said that they call to you to use different stones. So in essence, you're mixing kind of channeling with your spell or ritual work with your quartz, with your crystals.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
So that's really cool. So that actually makes me want to like. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen that video that I have a while back where I talk about channeling and stuff like that. It makes me wonder if I was to use a crystal while channeling, if it would amplify that. Huh, that's an experiment. I'll have to try that out.
Let us know.
No, yeah, for sure, right? Stay tuned. No. So another question I wanted to ask was using crystals and tools like Athames and wands and stuff. Like again, my Athame is like a highlight of this thing today. So like again, my Athame has a crystal in it, and I've seen multiple wands and things with crystals in the tips. So as far as using crystals and tools and things like this, is that how does that work?
Well, crystals are tools. It makes sense to put them in wands because we use the wand as an extension of ourselves, an extension of our energy. So if we're using the wand as an extension of our energy, of course we would want things that amplify that energy like crystals. So
Very
it makes
cool.
complete sense to put them on.
Very cool. And I've even actually seen wands, like entire wands. It's just one giant crystal. It's like, and they use it like a wand, so it's kind of neat in that sense. Okay, so now we are going to have Pink Tourmaline, which, how did I not know she was into crystals? Her name is Pink Tourmaline, which if you don't know is actually a stone. So, but she's going to introduce to us, she's going to talk about, I'm going to leave this stage to her for a few minutes, and she's going to actually go over some of her more loved crystals, more popular crystals right now with us and tell us what each of them are and everything. And I think she's going to introduce to us a book too going forward from Scott Cunningham on how to do some crystal research and look up things yourself. So take it away, Jake.
Who's Jake?
I know, you're Pink, sorry. Take it away, Pink.
So it makes sense to start off with my favorite stone, Pink Tourmaline. This one is for self-love, inner healing. It helps with distress and anxiety. And this one right here is formed in quartz, and quartz amplifies. So when you see any kind of tourmaline in quartz, that's the best to get because it's amplified by the quartz.
So actually I do have a question. So are you allowed to, like, say these are your stones, these are your quartzes, am I allowed to touch them too, or is it like something where you wouldn't want other people to touch them?
My stones.
There you go. So just so you know, another etiquette thing, if you're looking at other people's stones and stuff, like say you go over to somebody's house or something like that and they have like a stone out in the house, don't necessarily just go grabbing it and touching it and everything, because that might be, they might not want you to do that. So
you're gonna get your energy all over it.
You're gonna get your ass kicked.
Well, you definitely get your energy all over it, and that, all the clearing and stuff. But yeah, so yeah, definitely don't touch other people's stones. Unless they say it's okay. If they say it's okay, then you can definitely touch it. If they hand it to you, don't be like, oh, I don't want to. Definitely, you can touch it. It's not a problem. So Pink Tourmaline, what a stone.
Sweet.
So the next one I have is green tourmaline, and that's for healing, removing blockages. It clears your heart chakra, it clears your aura. And this one is again in white, or clear, I should say clear quartz, so that it's amplified. So you can see the green and the clear. And it's definitely always good, again, to get it in clear. If you don't have clear quartz, that's fine too. This just kind of makes the energy kind of go out and amplifies it. All right, so this one right here is black tourmaline. And again, this one has clear quartz and black tourmaline. Now this dispels negativity, negative energy. It's a great protection stone. It shields from harm. So yeah, I love this black tourmaline. I use this on my spirit board actually. It's really good for keeping out any kind of harmful or evil energies coming your way. Anybody who has bad intentions for you. So it's definitely good to wear, definitely good to have in spell work and utilize. So yeah.
Awesome.
So the next one I have here is Tiger's Eye. This one brings good luck and dispels negative energy. This one's actually a blue Tiger's Eye, which does all the same thing as a Tiger's Eye, except it's more soothing and calming. So when you have like a situation that's more dramatic, it helps soothe that and calm it down. So really cool. I really like the blue Tiger's Eye better. It's my favorite.
I think that's one of my favorite stones too. I just love the way it looks. It's got the way it's got like this black with the with the brown and the gold kind of in it and everything. It's
Yeah.
like really cool.
Yeah, really cool. So here we have a fluorite. It's really pretty. This one I love because it reminds me of like the Wizard of Oz. You ever see like the Emerald City?
Totally, yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
looks like it belongs in the end of a wand or something.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah. This is, I mean, you could use this as a wand. It's a point, or what they call like a tower or whatever. This one brings clarity. It releases obsessions. It's good for people with addiction. It helps ease their addictive behaviors. So this one's definitely a really good one to have.
So I really like the look of that one too. It's very like, to me, like that one looks like ocean. I don't know. It just reminds me of like the water because of the way it looks and everything. It's all green and everything. It's just like super cool.
Yeah. The other thing about this is it's good for court cases, bringing justice. If you're in some sort of lawsuit or whatever it might be, and you're looking for a little bit of a justice to be served, this is good to use as well.
Good to know.
Okay, so next we have is pyrite or fool's gold. This one attracts wealth. This one is for protection, strength. It's a really pretty stone. It's sparkly, of course, but again, you want to use it for your workings. So it's good for manifesting wealth. I use pyrite in a lot of money spells.
Makes sense, considering it looks like gold.
Yeah. But it's not.
No.
Joke's
Fool's
on
gold.
you. So this one's labradorite, and this one's really pretty. This one has the ability to transform. It is used to balance and manifest dreams. So really cool. It's just really pretty. I really love this stone.
Nice. Oh,
It
no,
looks like
totally.
a storm. Like, that's why I think it's used to transform, because it just looks like there's like all kinds of stuff going on to like create there, which is nice.
Yeah, no, that does look
Creation.
very cool.
Yeah. So this one's carnelian. This one's to give you a burst of energy. This helps with motivation and creativity. Really cool stone. Okay, so this one is one of my favorite stones. This is a hag stone. And this stone is, it's a very protective stone for witches, to say the least. It helps with removing curses. It also helps with opening portals for witches. So this is really good with the natural portals that the earth has made in the stone. The great thing about the hagstone, and I should say this, is nobody should ever buy their hagstone. You should always find it. And I mean, not like out in nature, not in a store. It's said when you find a hagstone out in nature, it is your source telling you are on the right path. So it's really good to, it's like a gift from, the higher beings to tell you, yes, we see you, we hear you, we appreciate you, and you are here. You have arrived on the right path. Keep going.
Very cool.
So it's definitely worth it. I risked my life on some jagged stones to get this one a couple years ago. It's the first one I've been looking for years. For years I looked for a hagstone and never could come across one. Didn't matter how many times I went to the beach. And then I wasn't even looking for it at this point. I came across it and I just ran through jagged rocks to get it, and I lived through it, lived to tell about it, and I got a really cool hagstone. So I'm excited. It's the only one I have, but it means a lot to me. So this one is selenite. This is a high vibrational stone. This one clears, it amplifies energy. It also is used to evoke angels. So,
wow.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Really cool. This one's a tower. A lot of people have like the flat slabs that they use to put their stones on. This also clears stones or clears negative energy out of the stones, so a lot of people use it for that. This is one you don't want to get wet. It's a very soft stone. This one, a lot of people know, it's in the quartz family. It's amethyst. This one you don't want to leave out in the sun. This one you use for protection. I guess I should say you don't want to leave it out in the sun because it's going to lose its color.
Oh.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
That's what I have in my Athame.
Yeah, don't leave that out in the sun because it will lose its color.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one's for protection. It also helps with intuition and wisdom. And this I find is really good to use during new moon rituals. Very, very good to use because It brings in new energies. It helps manifest new intentions.
Do you know why it would lose its color in the sun? Does it just bleach it, I guess?
It bleaches it. The sun bleaches it. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. See, I
Yeah.
never would have thought of that. So,
Yeah. This one was a little bit darker when I first got it.
what, did you leave it in the sun?
I put it in my window for meditation purposes and quickly found out that was a bad idea. But I love this one. Yeah. Yeah. It's still very pretty. Okay, so now we're on to pink quartz, and this one's super shiny because I meditate with this one a lot, and it has like my skin oils all in it. So this one I'm very much connected to. This is for a lot of love energy, a lot of healing energy. Rose quartz, I use this in a lot of love magic. It's great for that. It's great for healing magic. Yeah, it's just one of my favorite stones to use. Rose quartz, it's really pretty. You can definitely, put your intention by holding it.
Does that have to do with like love and stuff? Is like you were saying? Okay.
Yep. You can use it for, love for others. Self-love is really great. Rose quartz, and again, healing. Healing's really, it's a really, especially inner healing, inner trauma. Helps with that. So
Chill.
really cool stone. And then I have, of course, last the clear quartz. This one right here you can program to do anything. It's really the all-purpose stone. If you're going to have any stone and you only want one stone, clear quartz is the way to go.
So is this like the equivalent to like the white candle? Like if you don't know what else to get, if you don't know like what color candle to get for candle magic, you get like a white candle and just okay.
Yep. I have quite a bit of this stuff. It's very easy to get. It's actually shouldn't be expensive at all. I say shouldn't because some people will charge you an arm and a leg for it, but really should not be that expensive at all. I've found white quartz or clear quartz on my journeys out in the woods, so I've gotten it for free too. This one I know I purchased. But yeah, it's something that you can use during full moon. It really amplifies those intentions, so it's a good full moon ritual stone. And yeah, that's clear quartz.
Very cool. See, I know that's one thing I've received multiple times as gifts. Clear quartz. I mean, even the amethyst in my Athame was a gift from a witch friend of mine, Morgana, her name was. And I think she gave it to me for my first degree initiation, 20 odd something years ago. But most of the stuff I have most of the crystals I have are clear quartz, actually, that most people have given me. I think it's the most common one. It's like any different crystals I have been given to me. Well, you've given me a couple of crystals, that were totally different that I've, worked with, but kind of like just having my inventory anyhow. I haven't really worked with them, but I think I'm gonna start because it's like everybody else out there. I'm no different than anybody else. You all of a sudden learn about something, and then all of a sudden you're like, I want to try it now, and you get excited about it, even if it's only for a brief amount of time. You totally so I totally feel like after this video, I'm gonna get into crystals and stuff like that now, and really like something that I actually used to be, I used to treat crystals as, I don't know, man, I kind of was not necessarily anti-crystal, but I just associated it with these people that didn't really, I wasn't really too thrilled about, which are white lighters. I mean, I'll probably edit this out, but the fact is, I don't know, to me, crystals represented goody two-shoes, again, rainbows and unicorns flying out of your ass, and
I like rainbows and unicorns, so I don't see where the problem
I just
is, right?
I just totally embrace that whole balance thing, in other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a very dark side to me as well as a light side, so I embrace both equally. So
if you're gonna have a rainbow, you should have some lava too.
Yeah, for sure. You got night and day. You got the dark, you got the light. It is what it is. So, is there anything that I might have left out that you want to mention more about crystals?
Yeah. So, again, you don't have to spend any money whatsoever on stones or crystals. You can go on a nature walk and just get what you find, or have people give you, wait for gifts of crystals. You don't have to spend any money. You can if you want to. If you're like me and you're like, yes, I love crystals. I'm going to collect them. I want one of each kind. Nobody's going to stop you if you're making your own money. Do what you want to do with it. But another thing that I do with mine, and you don't have to do this, is I paint my stones. This one is the goddess. It's a little goddess statue. And just by painting it, you put that energy into it. So these are just a couple of stones that I felt really good about. And then I brought them home and did a little art project. So it's really fun. And then I have the same thing with these two. This is a little tree of life. You know, and I bring these into my workings. So I use these just like I would my other stones. I got a little heart chakra one here. It was heart shaped. And I got like little chakras going on here. And then this one is of the universe, which is really cool. I really, really love this one. And I bring these in all the time. Just like charms. They're great. And this one is a clear quartz I found on my walk, and I've got like the sky painted on it with like clouds and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I do this all the time. These are just some of them that I own. I do this all the time. I really do this all the time.
The rock painter.
Right?
It's very caveman-like.
Yes. And hey, you know what? If it works. But yeah, yep. So I also have a book that I want to promote, and this one is well loved, as you can see. I've used it for a long time. This one is Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Crystals, Gems, and Metal Magic. Yay! I did not get any of my information that I shared today out of this book for any of the crystals, but there's definitely a lot of information in here, and I reference this a lot because honestly, when it comes to crystals, it is really hard to remember exactly what they do and everything that they do. Even today I had to write down to reference these just because there's so many of them. They do so much, and you get an idea, but to really know everything that they do or a good amount what they do, it's a lot. So definitely
it's like memorizing herbs or something.
Yeah. I mean, you do and then you don't. It's in the back of your mind. You're like, oh, what do I need, you know? But when I do go to pull them in my workings, I literally pull from energy. So, But yeah, if you're looking to get exactly what they do, here you go. Scott Cunningham never lets us down.
Okay, cool. So I will link this book in the description below also, so that anybody who's interested in it can get it. And I'm pretty sure in my video about my recommended books that I actually recommend this book also. So it'll be in there too. But anyway, so everybody, that's going to wrap up this episode of Witch in the Working. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe, ring that little bell to remind you of any videos I put out in the future. When you do ring that little bell, go up to the all thing. Because if you don't go up to the all, because it gives you like 3 options. I don't know what they all are, but I know the top one where it says all, because what happens is if you don't click the all, it's not gonna tell you every video that I'm coming out with next. It's gonna just kind of, it's not gonna do it. The bottom line is you wanna do that. You wanna click the all, okay? So my question for you, and put down in the comments below, do you work with crystals? What crystals do you work with and why? Let us all know in the comments below. So that's gonna wrap it up. I love you guys and gals out there, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Blessed be.